Hi guys!
Hi guys!
Welcome to
Monday with the Mavens! We're back! We are back!
Back, baby!
Back. Yeah, look out! It's been a few weeks. Well, actually, I guess we were together a couple weeks ago, but
Not
not
together though.
Yeah.
For those of you that are like, what are you back from?
Yeah, I'm fresh off the boat.
Yeah, Haley just got back from like a wild European tour.
We're on camera. See you later.
Oh, I'm so happy to see so many of you guys joining in. Happy Monday. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. We've got lots to talk about today.
We sure do.
First of all, I missed this girl.
And I
hope
this
you
one.
guys missed her too, because man, life's not the same without her, like a real consistent part of my day to day.
Well, and we spend a lot of time like this close.
Yeah, like really close.
And to be away from each other for a few weeks is hard.
It is. And so we were talking about, okay, we haven't lived in a couple of weeks, like what should we chat about? And I think one of the things that is asked all the time is like, what is different? Like you guys talk about having a sustainable lifestyle or sustainable outcomes, like how is that and why is it different? How do you achieve that? And I think it all comes down to creating healthy habits. And so our whole goal is not just for ourselves or our clients to have success as they're working with a coach and going through and like really optimizing their metabolism. It's to be able to then maintain that in a realistic way while enjoying life and like going on about your business.
Yeah, totally. Nobody's life should be run by the food choices that you have to make or by nutrition. Like we don't want it to be like that. We want you to live your life and have a great life doing it and just have, be able to make healthy choices that are natural and easy.
Yeah. So. And we had some questions sent in too that we're going to tackle. But if you guys have any questions that you want us to try to touch on, nothing's off limits. So I say that like it's a challenge, but
nothing is off limits. See if you can stump us.
But please feel free to comment down. We have Facebook over here and Instagram over here. So if we are looking at two cameras, we apologize for that. But we're just going to jump in.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, so Emmy, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Tell me, what do you think for yourself? What is one habit that you have that you practice on a daily basis that you feel is life altering? What is something that you do on a daily basis? You have created a habit that has made life better. How about that?
Well, a lot of things. Okay, and this is probably going to sound cheesy, but like if I have to pick one, honestly, it's starting my day with gratitude. It's so powerful, you guys. Like the simple act of starting your day with a grateful heart, even if it's a hard season, can really set you up for a day of success in all the things. And so, I know it's easy to say that, but really getting into a habit. And I haven't always done this. I've always had like a prayer practice, but I haven't always deliberately and meaningfully like paused in the mornings, because most of us are really busy, right? Like we get up, we hit the ground running, maybe we get our workouts in. At least I get my workout in before my family wakes up. I try to get through some work. I prep things for my family for the day. I prep things for me for the day. Like you get up, you hit the ground running. But if you can allow yourselves and you can set your circadian rhythm to allow yourself to wake up, and before you turn your phone on, before you look at email, before you look at social, anything like that, you just take a couple minutes, whether it's an audible conversation, whether you're writing it down, but to first just really think of like, what am I grateful for today? Like give thanks, because starting the day with a grateful heart sets you up to have the foundation to receive the hard things of life a little softer. And it also just starts to shift your thinking a little bit. Does that mean that every day is going to be rainbow and sunshines? Like, no, absolutely not. But it starts to shift something over time to allow you to actually, like what I call a joy meter, to like keep your joy meter higher, which is going to help you from a health standpoint too, which we'll talk about. But it's also going to serve those around you in such a different capacity. So there's a lot of things routine driven, and we're going to jump into some of those. But if I had to pick one, it's gratitude. And I know that doesn't like translate directly to like body composition or to all the things that we often talk about, but it does impact your health.
Well, and I think that also it starts your mind game off, right? You know,
does.
and honestly, I think that our mind and our brains are sometimes like the biggest hurdle that we have to jump over through the day. So whether it's an attitude adjustment, waking up on the wrong side of the bed, I love that, you know, starting with gratitude kind of sets things in the right direction right off the bat. And I need to be better about that. I love that. That's a little tip I'm going to take away, because I would love to do that first thing in the morning, but I don't. I get up and get dressed and come to her house
To work out,
which I'm really grateful for. But having a practice of gratitude, even. And so what that means, at least for me, to do it first thing in the morning would mean a little bit more like routine wise, like starting my night routine a little bit earlier, because I would need to get up a little bit earlier in the morning, which is great.
Yeah.
And that, you know.
And a couple of things that I've adopted over time is one of the things, even if I'm really tired, and I really do try to get to bed at a good time, because I count on my sleep. I need good, deep restorative sleep. But I do make sure that I have a plan for the next day, because going into the night with a plan for the next day, even if that plan changes, helps me rest easier at night, and it helps me wake up knowing what my plan is, and it's just like gives me that undertone of organization.
Yeah.
It's probably going to change, but at least I have it. And then a few tangible things on the gratitude, because it is like things are going to change, kids are going to wake up, animals are going to get sick, like whatever it may be, but like I actually have my journal right next to my bed, like right there. And so for me, and it was probably will look different for you, like when I wake up, before I get out of bed, before I go pee, like I pause and I pray. Like I pray before I step foot out of my bed. And then I have my journal. Now, they say that if you write something down, it has a bigger impact. So
I agree with that.
it is, and it does. Honestly, it just takes a couple minutes. Like get in the habit. Start with just writing one thing down every morning that you're grateful for, and then it's really cool to flip back through it, especially if you're feeling defeated. Like flip back through the things you're grateful for, because it's really fun. Like
Yeah, I like that.
And we can all, no matter our situation, and I know like life can come with some hard seasons, but we can all extrapolate something that we're grateful for.
Yeah, there's always something.
There
Even
is.
if you have to dig for it, like there's something. Whether it's just being thankful that you woke up to your alarm on time, or maybe you didn't hit snooze, or maybe you're thankful that it's Tuesday and not Monday, whatever it is. Like there's always something to be thankful for.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, I'm going to ask you the same question.
Okay.
If you had to pick one thing that you've adopted that has had a profound impact for you, what would it be?
Well, and mine kind of goes hand in hand with yours, and it started when my daughter, so I've told you guys this is not news to anybody, but I've been a chronic exerciser my whole life, but I used to exercise in the afternoon, just because that's when I had time. I was a student going to college, and that was a long time ago though. Let's be real. Like that was a long time ago. But I would have early morning classes, and I think that when you're younger in your 20s, like the whole thought of getting up early to exercise, at least for me, wasn't like, I don't know, it didn't sound good. Yeah, it wasn't appealing. And so once I got older and more mature, and actually had children who slept through the night, when my daughter was 1 and she's 15 now, so it's been 14 years, I started an early morning exercise routine. And it has changed my life profoundly. Yeah. And it looks different, you know. I mean, it's looked the same for several years. I come here 3 mornings a week, and the other 2 mornings I'm at home. We have a little home gym that I exercise at, but whether it's just getting up and simply moving my body first thing in the morning. I get out of bed, I have my exercise clothes laid out. I don't eat breakfast, I don't drink coffee, I always exercise fasted. But it starts my day, like Emmy said, like gratitude. It starts my day in the right direction. Like I have the movement. I don't even think about it anymore. And maybe, you know, I call myself a morning person now. Like I love the morning. It's my most favorite time of the whole day is the early morning. Like before the city and the town and the world wakes up. I love having that time when everybody else is sleeping and it's quiet and I can reflect and my house is quiet and everybody's sleeping. I love that. And so to be able to go and to get my exercise done, it doesn't loom over me. It's already done. I don't even think about it. It's like once you create a habit and you're doing it over and over and over, pretty soon you don't even have to think about it. And that's what makes it a habit is,
Yep.
you know, you get up, I don't think about it. It's just what I do. It's just part of my day. For a long time, I would wake up and I'd be like, do I have a headache today? Or
Yeah.
maybe I don't feel good. And there'd always be like some silly little excuse as to why I maybe shouldn't or couldn't go to the gym or go work out. But now it's like, if I don't, then all day long, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm missing out on something, or my body doesn't just feel right. So anyway, that's the one thing that I think has had the biggest impact on my life. And it's a habit that I have stuck with like year in and year out.
But I want to talk about that for a minute. And we are going to get back to like simple, sustainable, because we also don't want you guys to feel like you have to do all the things. Because you
Right.
don't.
No, pick one thing.
But I just want to talk about, I want to piggyback what Haley said for a minute, because like she said, she's a chronic exerciser, you guys. She has exercised her entire life religiously.
Yeah.
It
like
wasn't-
almost to a fault. Like to where it was a problem.
and so like if you are not an exerciser and you are interested in macros, like we have a lot of clients that come to us that do not move their body very much. They're pretty sedentary and they have excellent results with macros.
Yeah.
Are we going to encourage them to move their body? For sure, because it's good for so many things. But I don't want you to think that what we do requires a certain level of exercise, because foundation is the key. It is the foundation. You cannot exercise your way out of a bad fork. You just can't.
Yeah.
But the other part of that is that it wasn't until Haley started really utilizing macros in a strategic way. This is true for both her and I, because she ate clean, and she exercised chronically, and then she started using macros strategically, and it was like a game changer. It's
like
I
night
saw it in
and
myself,
day.
but to get to see it in somebody else that I'm with all the time, her strength, her performance, her body composition, like, so it's so interesting to see somebody that has exercised their entire life, and has like killed themselves in the gym, quite literally, probably like
to a fault. Like
yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't know. I just thought, the more the merrier, right? You work out harder, stronger, faster, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't until, I incorporated macros and really started tracking what I ate that my body actually changed. But I kept going to the gym, like expecting the results and hoping for things and changing my workout routine and doing all those things. But honestly, like, it wasn't until I incorporated a macro program in my life that my body actually responded the way I was hoping that exercise was going to make it. Now, I will say this, though. My family will agree with you that if I don't exercise, like, I am a terrible person. Like,
she's not a terrible person, but
no, I am a terrible person.
I need it too.
Yeah, like, I'm a better person. I feel better. I view the world differently. Yeah. I'm not grumpy or moody. Like, it just changes. It changes me. It changes my attitude. And so my kids will even say, they'll be like, oh, you didn't go to the gym this morning, or you didn't work out this morning, did you, Mom? And I'm like, really?
I know.
You can tell just that like that.
Yeah.
And they can.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And I just want to say, like, before we kind of jump into some of these things that you can do, that you can create these healthy habits for like sustainable health. Here's the thing, like, in a perfect world, like, you hear about, all of these, and it's typically men, and there's like no negatives for men by any means, but you hear these like profound, long, like 2-hour prepping in the morning for, all these special teas and this movement and this, like, it doesn't have to be like, especially some of the podcasts that I've historically listened to, like, you hear about these crazy morning routines to set themselves up for success. We need to be realistic, right? Like,
keep it simple. We need to keep it simple.
We do. Like, we have female and male clients, and some that, have much fuller schedules than others. Everybody has roadblocks, right? And so if you can find things that you can create small habits over time, they are going to serve you so well. And so one of the things that we love doing is when we're working with our clients and we're really starting to understand how they've historically fueled their body, how they've historically moved their body, what their goals are, and how we can be strategic so that they're not having to restrict themselves, they're not having to kill themselves in the gym, and we can start helping them have increased energy, improved sleep, like improved body composition so that they're feeling more confident, feeling better in their own skin, all the things. The motivation is there for a season, but motivation is not always going to be present. And so that's why you have to have the discipline. And the discipline can come by creating those small, shifts over time so that it really just becomes part of who you are and what you do, and the people around you start to expect it.
Yeah.
And man, like there are a lot of little things that can be done to help achieve that. I think the biggest thing,
Sorry,
a house
we have
full of kids today,
yeah.
sorry. I think that the biggest thing is identifying, like, why are you wanting to make a shift? Like, what is it that you are wanting to change? Why are you wanting to change it? Because you will need to go back to your why.
Always. You constantly go back to the why. I mean, I think that we do that. That's what keeps us moving forward, right? Is you have a goal or a why that you're trying to reach. And so you constantly have to reevaluate your actions of getting you to that why. And I think that that's really healthy. I think that, you know, if you don't, I mean, Emmy and I talk about it all the time. We have lots of goals for Macro Mavens. And if we don't set goals, then what are we working towards, you know? And so what is your why? Like, we want to help change people's lives. We want people to have a positive relationship with food. We want people to fuel their bodies appropriately. And so if we continue to come back to that, then it keeps us on the path forward.
It totally does. Let me ask you this before we jump into kind of the list of some habits that you guys can start to adopt, or that we can all do better at, honestly, Haley and myself included. We get asked a lot, like, because we do talk about how what we do with our clients is a sustainable way of living.
Yeah.
It really is something that, you know, you see so many people do these like yo-yos or try these different things, and they might have some success for a season, but it's really hard for them to then maintain that success. It's so important to us that our clients feel like they have the tools and the baseline to sustain their success throughout life. Like, that is, we would be doing a disservice to our clients if they were only successful while they were working with us as coaches.
For sure.
So why do you think what we do is different than so many of the other things that people have done out there?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that, I mean, depending on like what diet fad, you know, you're a part of, whether it is paleo or Whole30 or Atkins, or maybe it's just like eliminating
ton of
gluten,
people come to us from
or
keto.
or keto. Yeah, I mean, regardless of what it is, like in fact, we both bristle at the word diet, like a reverse diet. That's not what we don't want people to think that. The word diet just has some negative connotations with it, right? You think, oh, I have to eliminate X, Y, and Z, and you know, I have to like not feel good or whatever it is in order to meet your goals. Like, that's not what we're doing here. And so I think that what makes what we are doing sustainable is, for one, we're teaching our clients how to fuel their bodies so that they feel the best. And so our motto is feel good, look good, do good. Like, if you feel good, everything changes, right? Like, it's when you feel crummy, or you feel like you're missing out on this, or you feel like you can't do X, Y, and Z, or you can't eat the things that you love, then all of a sudden you don't want to be involved. You don't want to do it. So that's what I love about macros is, you know, I have certain things in my life on a daily basis that bring me a lot of joy, and that's coffee and chocolate. And those two things I have every day, regardless of where I'm at. If I am climbing in my reverse, if I am deep in the bottom of a cut, like, I still can have my coffee and have a piece of chocolate every single day. It fits. I just work everything else around it. So we don't want people to feel deprived of the things that bring them joy. And honestly, if we're being real, like, in a lot of ways, food brings us joy. It's one of my most favorite things to do in the whole wide world is eat. I love to eat good food. I love it.
too.
And I like to eat a lot of food, and we like to eat a lot of food together. And so I am coming at you from, you know, the perspective of somebody who likes to eat. And so
she just spent almost a full month in Europe eating
all
the
the
things. And she came back like, without gaining, because you start to have a flexible metabolism. Now, she does move her body a lot, but like, you just figure out like what works and how to feel. Like, it does not have to be about restriction.
No, and it's not, honestly. And so is there a time and a place when you need to like cut back and restrict yourself calorically to reach goals? Yes. Do we take you through that and walk you through it and keep you in a deficit for a short time? Yes, but it is not like we do not ever leave a client like in a deficit. That is not what we are here for. We really, more than anything, want to educate our clients on how to fuel your body so that you can do the things in life that bring you joy and bring you purpose, whether it's gardening, exercising, playing with your kids, playing with your grandkids, going on a bike ride with your family, whatever that is. We want you to feel fueled to do the things that you loved. performance is a big deal for everybody. Everybody wants to be able to perform at their peak. And so in order to do that, you have to fuel your body properly.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's why it's sustainable, because all of a sudden people who haven't been fueling themselves properly start fueling themselves properly, and they feel like a new person. And we hear it all the time. Like, people come to us and they say, I had no idea that or we'll have people come to us who are like, I have an afternoon lull every day. I want to lay down and take a nap. I had no idea that by eating properly, I could get rid of that and have sustained energy. And sometimes that's enough for our clients. And it's amazing.
Yeah. I'll just give a couple tangible examples, because we want to pinch ourselves when we get to know, when we get to be a small part of, like, literally people changing their lives.
Yeah.
Like, it's so cool. I have a client who has, like, publicly outspoken about how in the last year, not only has she, like, drastically shifted her weight, but more importantly, her energy has gone up like crazy, and her pain has gone down so much. And she has done physical labor her whole life. And so to be in a position now where she doesn't have the pain associated with it, and she has the sustained energy, it is like life-changing.
It's life-giving in so many ways. Like, people are getting their lives back. And, like, I mean, when Emmy and I started this whole deal, we were like, it'd be really fun if we could teach a few people the tricks that we've learned, that have changed our lives.
Yeah.
And to be able to do it on the scale that we are currently, and seeing so many lives change, like, if I was a crier, I'd be totally misty right now.
It's pretty amazing.
Incredible. And we just feel so fortunate. And so we want to shout from the rooftops, like, you don't have to be in a deficit, for your whole life. You don't need to be on a diet. There's so much more. There's so much more to it.
And so Caitlin mentions here that she's so glad not to need a nap every afternoon anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, like, our bodies were not designed to nap every afternoon. Like,
unless you're a baby,
need it.
then you need it.
Yeah.
Like, let your baby sleep. But yeah, as an adult, like,
especially if you're struggling with sleep at night, eliminate the nap.
Yeah.
Like, eliminate the nap, because that deep restorative sleep is so, so, so critical. And just to piggyback, so Caitlin, thank you so much for sharing. I'm so glad you don't need that anymore too. I just want to ask the question too, because I have a client that is really near and dear to me, that I have known for a real long time, that started, a few months ago, significantly under eating. And she happens to be somebody, because you find, like, as a coach or a healthcare provider or whomever you are, if you have a tool that could really help somebody, but you don't want to be the one to bring it up because you don't ever want to push that on somebody. You just don't.
Well, you don't want to point out to anybody that you think that they're doing it wrong.
And so I've been waiting this whole time for this person I've been hoping and honestly praying, like, for this person to, like, raise their hand and say, I want to do this. And they did a couple months ago. And it was, like, the biggest blessing in the whole wide world. And the fear for this person was failure. Like, they didn't want to raise their hand and get started on something that they didn't think that they could see through. And here's the deal, you guys. And now, fast forward only a couple of months, and they're fueling their body more. They are shedding fat. There's so much energy. Like, and it's only been a couple of months.
And glowing. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And, like, literally, like, glowing.
I mean, honestly, and we say this all the time about, like, particular clients who have these huge wins. We're like, if it was just that person, if that's all we got from this whole experience, like, we would be satisfied. And that's how I feel about this client, because she is, like, winning in all the ways. But the reason that she waited so long is the fear of failure. And here's the thing, guys, like, what are you waiting for? Whether it be Macro Mavens or whether it be some other endeavor in life, if you are at a place in life where you want to make a change of some kind, you want to do something more fulfilling, you want to feel better, you want to be more energetic, you want to make wiser financial decisions, you want to have better relationships, like, whatever it may be, then what are you waiting for? Because we are all going to fail in life at some things, but you never know what glory might come unless you try. And that's hard. Like, in the last couple years, Haley can attest to this, like, I've taken some big risks that I would have totally encouraged other people to take, but it's scary, like when it's yourself. And why not? Because you never know, like, the blessing that can come. And even if you're not perfect, which you won't be, even if you maybe fall short at times, if you're putting your foot in front of the other, you're still going to make some form of progress. You're still going to learn in the process. So, you know, you hear people say, like, when they're getting ready to start an exercise program, like, oh, well, I'll start it when I'm in better shape. Or I'll start it when and like, the thing is that, like, it's always a good time to start because you can figure it out. Like, or maybe it's a financial constraint. Like, oh, I just really can't afford that. Like, not saying that you need to shift things around to do macro Mavens per se. You might. You might need to do that. But if you evaluate, like, what is your priorities? What are you spending your money on? Are you buying a coffee every day? Are you getting, you know, X, Y, and Z? What service, like, what apps are you paying for? Because for, like, no more than a couple dollars a day, like, you can invest in a healthier future you. Whether that be something like a nutrition coach, whether that be something like, you know, exercise, or a mentor for, you know, financial, or investing in your relationships, like, whatever that is, like, why not?
Honestly, yeah, I love that. And there's always going to be a reason not to.
Yeah.
100% of
Always.
the time, always. And when you start something new that takes effort, like I said it earlier, the biggest hurdle will be yourself.
Yeah.
You're your own biggest hurdle. And so once you make a decision and you commit to it, that's what we're here for. Then you hire a coach. Let's say you hire a coach, and then we help you beyond the parts that you can't do yourself. And so I think that, you know, and it's this way with all things in life. Like, with great risk comes great reward.
Ooh.
Who said that? Is that Yoda?
Oh, I
Or
was
no,
thinking
that's
it was
Master
like,
Shifu.
I was thinking it was a president.
No, I think it's like Master Shifu from, like, Panda.
Okay,
what's
that's
what's the
hilarious.
Kung Fu
Kung Fu
Panda?
Panda?
Yeah,
Oh.
Master Shifu. With great
Do any of
risk
you guys
comes
know?
great reward.
I wanna
Anyway, I think that it's Master Shifu. You know, the little, is he the turtle? And anyway, I think that it's really great. There's really great wisdom in some cartoons.
There is.
And it's important. Like, if you're willing to take the risk and put the, you know, throw it out there, then the reward on the other side is going to be that much greater.
And the cool thing is it's not even really a big risk. Like,
No,
if we're talking
honestly,
about working with a coach, and you guys, man, I wish I would have known this in my younger years, because sometimes it's just easy to think you could do it all on your own. You can figure it out. But there's always going to be somebody that knows more than you in a particular area. And why not glean from them? Like, use a coach, be strategic, have a mentor. Like, you will get so much further, so much faster if you have somebody else looking in from the outside and navigating and giving you feedback and giving you assignments, like, and then you follow it and you soar and you learn and then you adopt and then you win.
And the worst thing, like, okay, so let's play it out. Okay, let's play it out. Let's say that you have weight to lose, fat to lose, and you sign up and you get a health coach, and we teach you how to overcome a few barriers that you might struggle with, whether it is like, I have a hard time with sugar or whatever. And we give you tips and tricks and different things that you can implement in your life to make better decisions. Well, that is a win in itself right there. You've already won right out of the gate. You have somebody on your side cheering for you, cheering you on, teaching you how to make, you know, better decisions about, you know, maybe it's just shifting the kinds of oil you cook with, or different things like that. Like, it's a win out of the gate.
Yeah.
And then let's say that you do shed the fat that you're planning on. Well, that's a win out of the gate too. Then you're winning and you're winning and you're winning. And then let's say you have a better relationship with food, and that's another win. And so anyway, you got nothing to lose, right?
You have nothing to lose. And I know we're here to talk about habits.
That was our initial.
We just get so passionate because, you know, I think before you can start, like, creating these habits, you have to understand the foundation. And, you know, we talked about, I think what got us on this little bit of a tangent is sustainability. And I think that we absolutely, if a client is consistent, we can absolutely get them to their goals. How they maintain that goal status, I think that's where some people are like, yeah, like, I've been able to do X, Y, and Z, but I just can't hold it. Well, here's the thing. That's where the habits come in, because you really do start, if you're working with a coach, at least in our setting, you start to learn what foods fuel you. You learn how to fit the things in that you enjoy. You learn how to properly like fuel your body and your brain. You start experiencing the positive outcomes that come along with that. And you create these healthy habits over time so that it truly is a lifestyle. It's not a diet.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that there's no restriction in time. So we really do work to first repair the metabolism depending on the goal. And then depending on how far a client is from their goal, we will strategically use a cut, but we're never going to leave somebody there. We're going to strategically reclimb them so that when they do graduate, we might go through that process a couple times, but when they do graduate, so to speak, or they go into maintenance, they have a really healthy metabolism, but they also have a higher caloric intake than when they started, so that they have the flexibility of more food freedom. They know how to fuel their body, and they can maintain that because they have this flexible windows, and you don't have to track forever.
I'll
Some
use
people
my
choose to.
Yeah, I'll use myself as an example. Like I just got home from being in Europe for almost a month. I didn't track a single thing that I ate. I didn't even. I did, like, there were certain things that you've learned, that I have learned, that we teach our clients over time, that like ask yourself these questions, like. Yeah. Did I get protein in at breakfast? Am I eating enough protein? Like that's the only thing, actually there were two things. Protein and water were the two things that I just kept in mind. But I drank cappuccinos every day, sometimes multiples, chocolate croissants.
Go ahead, Scout.
We've got a little. We've got kids in the house. Anyway, I ate chocolate croissants. I ate pizza. I had gelato. Almost every day. And honestly, I didn't track a bit of it. And I came home today and I stepped on the scale and my weight was just like it always is. It was just steady Eddie. And will I go back to tracking? I will, because 3.5, 4 weeks of not tracking and eating whatever I want is great and wonderful. However, getting back into a routine also feels really good. Yeah. So I'm not going to shift anything. I'm just going to go back to what I was doing before I left, which was prioritizing water and protein, which I did while I was away. And, I'll go back to tracking my food and eating the same amount of calories as I did. And what I love about it is like, I can do that forever, and once you've done it for long enough too, like I don't have to necessarily track currently. Like I know what 6 ounces of protein looks like. And I can just be aware of it, that I'm getting as much as I need on a daily basis. I don't have to track. I like to, just to help keep me on track so that I don't like start slowly making adjustments the other way. But there's so much freedom, and that's what we want for our clients, is we want them to feel free, because so often we feel like we are a slave to our food, whether you are dieting or you're just thinking about it. And we don't want that for anybody. Nobody should be a slave to their food. You should be able to enjoy your food.
It's been a really powerful, because I too love food, but it's been a really powerful shift for me in really using food or seeing food truly as fuel. Like it's a tool. And do I still enjoy it? Absolutely. Do I love delicious food? Absolutely. But there are a lot of delicious foods that can fuel my body, and really understanding what fuels me makes such a significant difference.
Yeah.
Like it's huge.
Yeah.
And I love that.
And you can't just live off chocolate croissants and cappuccinos every day of your life.
You will feel awful.
Yeah.
So you eventually will be super inflamed.
Eventually you have to come home and get back to reality. So I'm going to start
fit the things in.
Yeah, but it's time to fuel myself.
Yeah. I mean, really, because I notice too, like, do I fit things in that maybe don't serve me super well or could create, more inflammation over time? Like, yeah, I fit those things in. But I do ask myself the question, like, is it worth how it's going to make me feel? Because especially when you really understand what does fuel you and you're feeling your best, when you maybe introduce some things that you choose to fit in, like you're not, at least for me, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
And so
absolutely.
like, you just, you start to make that choice. Like, is it worth it?
Is it worth it?
Yeah. Okay, so we got to get back to habits. Okay, so we talked so far about some healthy habits that can be adopted for sustainability and or adopted as you start to make some small healthy changes. Now, once again, you don't need to leave this and go try to do all of them, because the likelihood of being successful at changing too many things at once is going to decrease the success rate of actually having them stick.
Yeah. Choose one thing. Maybe 2 if you're feeling really ambitious, but just choose one thing that you can shift, something simple, because the more grandiose and huge the shift is, the less sustainable it's going to be. But if you can make little tiny shifts over time, then pretty soon those little tiny things there's a lot happening in the
not sure
background
what's
that's
happening
distracting.
over
But I don't know if you guys could hear that, but anyway, every little decision you make, like it stacks up over time. And so anyway, just make one small shift, and then eventually over time, all of those small shifts become a big deal.
So we talked a little bit about the night before. We talked a little bit about first thing in the morning, and I'll recap that here in a minute. We're going to just work through the day on some things. Sound good?
Yeah.
We didn't actually talk about that, but
We didn't actually talk about much of this today.
we didn't.
But,
We just jumped in.
but we've got lots to say.
But let's just work through the day. And if this resonates with you, fantastic. If it's something that you can modify a little bit that you think might really help you, fantastic. If you can pick a couple, fantastic. So we talked about the night before, setting yourself up for the next day. It's such a simple thing. It can look like whatever it needs to you to like review your calendar. I put everything in my electronic calendar, so I review the next day to make sure that I know where I'm expected to be, what I'm expected to do, what I can fit in. I make myself a list of the things that I want to make sure that I get done, or appointments I have to make, or content I need to create, or whatever it may be. So that I start my next day knowing these are the things that I need to make sure that I do, or that I could move them to the next day. The simple act of doing that can help you rest easier at night, and it has you just waking up with purpose, but also under an underlying sense of organization, which just shifts things in terms of your potential success rate for your healthy choices, which is I know that seems like a stretch, but it's just setting yourself up. Now, taking that a step further, and if you're pre-tracking your next day before you even get there sets you up for so much success, especially if you're just getting started, because then you literally just eat what you tracked and you know you're going to hit your numbers.
It doesn't mean you can't shift and change things during the day, like as things come up. You can totally do that. But having a game plan set in place before the day starts, man, for one, like what a time saver. Like, I don't know, it is a pain in the neck to eat lunch and then go to your phone or whatever and then try to remember everything you ate to track. Like, don't do that. Like, that will not serve you well in the long run.
Yeah. And it's just a simple effort of setting yourself up for success and then changing it if you need to.
Yeah, it's like setting out your workout clothes the night before. That's one thing that I do too, is I set out my workout clothes so I don't even have to think about like trying to find something to wear. It's all ready to go.
I have never done that. I need to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's not like she really has to go far to go to the gym.
Yeah,
she just walks outside.
I do need to do that. And then when you wake up, like taking those moments, and it literally can be moments, to start your day with gratitude, once again, just sets you up foundationally. And it can be so simple. But I mean, there is study after study that shows the impact on the brain, your nervous system, your longevity for those that, and you know, people can question like, well, how do you measure that? And anyways, there's a whole thing, but it's amazing what just practicing gratitude can do. And then I think the next big thing, we talk about hydration all the time, but if you start your day with water before you have anything else, and maybe add a squeeze of lemon to it if you like that, just starting your day with water will get you started on your water goals and your hydration, but it's also really good for your brain and your metabolism. So starting... And
digestion. Mm-hmm. It gets your body going.
Yeah. I mean, and we do talk about like really working with our clients, especially if you are looking to shed fat. Water, water, water. You need that to aid in the fat loss process. But you also need it for appropriate cell function and brain health, and like Haley said, digestion. So getting started first thing in the morning, even before you have your coffee, is huge.
And I always notice when I'm dehydrated, I like typically have like fairly dry skin, but if I'm hydrated, I don't even need lotion. I don't need chapstick. Like if you're well hydrated, your skin should be hydrated, your lips should be hydrated, all the things. So if you find yourself having chronic dry areas on your skin, like just increase your water.
Yeah.
It's simple.
I drink a lot of water and I can still be dry. So maybe I need to even increase it more.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Try it. See what happens. Let us know.
I drink a lot of water.
She does drink a lot of water. So do I. But man, I didn't drink enough.
On your trip.
Just like, it's hard because then you got to stop and go pee.
Yeah.
Who's got time for that?
I know.
Anyway.
Okay, so water.
Water, yes. Gratitude, water. We talked about exercise already in the morning. If that works for you, great.
If you can get your movement in first thing in the morning, it really is a game changer. Mm-hmm. If you can't, like fit it in where you can for sure, but man, is it a game changer.
We already talked about it.
And then depending on when you break your fast, which is why they call it breakfast, that first meal of the day, you guys, like, yes, you can technically eat whatever you want if it fits within your macros and you can have success. But if you start your day with something that's going to immediately spike your glucose, like a simple carbohydrate or some form of a sugar.
Like oatmeal. A lot of people start with oatmeal or a fruit smoothie or a really sweet yogurt or
some type of pastry
Yeah.
or a sugary
Chocolate
coffee.
croissant.
Those things are going to immediately spike your blood sugar in the morning. And it's also probably going to increase your hunger because you're not going to be super satiated throughout the day. And it's going to create this kind of roller coaster where you're going to likely have that mid-afternoon crash. And so if you can really start your day by having some form of a healthy protein coupled with a fat and a healthy carbohydrate, it's going to allow your body to get that fuel, to get those nutrients, and to not have those blood sugar spikes. It's so powerful.
It's simple. It's so
Yeah.
simple, right? So like have some eggs with your chocolate croissant and coffee.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I think we're funny today.
Yeah.
Have I mentioned how much I missed her? Okay, and then throughout the day, so we work with clients with so many different lifestyles. We have tons of people in healthcare, tons of teachers, tons of I guess all of it.
Everybody.
I can't see.
Aw, thanks, Cece.
I just got a text. I love it. So whatever you do, forcing yourself to move your body even a little bit. It's that low intensity, steady state movement throughout the day. It's called LISS. LISS. Work in some LISS because it adds up and it just allows your brain to work better. So it's simple. Parking further away when you go to work or the store or whatever it may be. Setting your alarm. Like if you are at a desk job, if you can shift to a standing desk, please think about it. If you can shift to some sort of like a moving desk, like that's even better.
They
If
make
not-
like little bicycle desks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a couple clients with the treadmill desks.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But even if you can't, like set your alarm so it beeps every hour, depending on your employer or your situation. I know that this might shift, but just simply standing up, walking around the building, doing 10 squats, lunging to the bathroom, like
Do a few
whatever it
jumping
may
jacks.
be, like a couple of minutes every hour. Once again, like our plan doesn't necessarily like require movement, but that movement throughout the day is going to make a huge difference in just the longevity and the sustainability and feeling good and feeling energized. And it adds up because we want step counts. Like we really push our clients to think about their steps, regardless of how much resistance training they're doing. Just getting low level steady state movement in throughout the day, it is just so important.
And if you stand up 5 times a day and do 10 squats, then at the end of the day, you've already done 50 squats. That's quite a bit. Like if you were to go to the gym and do 50 squats, like, I don't know, it would take you a few minutes. So you might as well just stand up every hour. If you did it every hour for 8 hours, that's 80 squats, guys.
Yeah. I mean, it
Did you
just,
see that? I just did public
look
math.
at you. Man, it just, or create a challenge in your workplace. Like make it fun.
Yeah.
Like get other people involved. If you can on a break or your lunch or whatever it may be, go on a walk to your food. Like, just working in those little things and creating them habits will actually bring you joy too.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking about my trip. But so my cousin and his wife live in Dublin, Ireland, and we went to their house for dinner. And they live in the city and they live in this teeny tiny little place that is so cute. Oh my gosh, I just love it. But they both work like, a significant distance away from their house.
Yeah.
And they walk every day,
love
rain or shine. And I asked, I was like, do you guys drive to work? Because it's in the city and like parking is crazy. And they're like, oh no, we walk. And I was like, how long does it take you to walk? And it's like 30, 35 minutes one way.
I love
and
that.
I'm like, that's amazing. They walk to
Yeah.
work every day. And that is really common in the cities. Like people ride bikes or they scooter or whatever. Very few people have cars. And so I think that especially in like Western America, everybody has a car and it's like the fight for the closest parking spot at work or the closest parking spot at Target. And if you could just get out of that mindset and just park a little further away or walk or ride your bike, it changes everything.
And on the note of walking, whether you're by yourself or you have a family, like a little walk after dinner will go a long ways. And it can really become a fun family thing to get them involved and to get outside. And whether you're in a neighborhood or farm or wherever you are, like an evening walk after you eat is going to really aid in your digestion. And these are not all things, once again, that like everybody has to do all these things, but they're things that can really make a difference over time that also are going to feed your joy meter.
Yeah, totally. So move your body every day, whenever you can. What's something else that you do? I think that like some practical things that I do that are just like, that help me. So I have a tendency towards wanting sugar. And so I really limit the kind and the amount of sugar that's in my house.
Yeah.
If it's not there, then I can't eat it. And so that's simple.
And I've gotten better about this most of the time, but my son is a baker. Like
they're having a baking contest currently.
Yeah. Like
we've involved you guys a few times.
Yeah. Like he is a major baker and I love to bake and I fit things in. But like chocolate, like I will fit in a good piece of chocolate. But if I have chocolate chips in my freezer, you better know every time I walk by, I'm going to want a handful of those chocolate chips. So I just only buy them when we're going to use them because it's stuff like that. Now, what's so bad about chocolate chips? Like nothing necessarily, but
unless you
if I
sit
ate
and
chocolate
ate the whole
chips
bag
all day, every day, I am going to have a lot of inflammation in my body and I'm not going to feel good. So why do that? So I just think it's little things like that. And then also just having things on hand that are going to serve you well. Like having things that are going to help fuel your meals, that are going to help meet your goals, that are going to, like, if you snack, and you know, it's ideal to not snack, to just have your main meals, but some people really enjoy that or need to do that because of their lifestyle. If you snack, having things on hand that are going to serve you well that you enjoy. Like make sure you enjoy them, but have them on hand. Set yourself up. Make sure that you have like a day or whenever that you get your groceries or use Instacart or whatever it may be so that you have those things on hand, because that is going to make a huge difference when you're hungry and you're going to reach for something that you enjoy but that fuels you.
Yep. Also, water. A lot of people have a hard time drinking enough water. We've talked about it until our eyes, I don't know, there was going to be something witty, but anyway, we talk about it a lot. We need to drink water. And some people have a hard time with just plain water. So grab some fruit, like chop up some cucumber or throw some strawberries or squeeze a lemon, whatever you can do. Buy yourself a cute water bottle. It makes a difference.
Yeah.
If you like the drinking vessel that you are using, you're more likely to use it.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple, but like humans are pretty simple people. Humans are pretty simple beings.
Yes. I like that.
I'm working on this a little less sleep. And so sometimes the words come out. I'm like, that just come out.
I think considering she got in at 1 a.m. this morning, like, so she's doing great.
Anyway, just having a drinking vessel that you enjoy using makes a huge difference. It seems so silly and kind of ridiculous. But honestly, I would way rather drink my water out of a glass or out of a bottle that I love than something I don't.
And having things, like I have a water, even though I like the same water bottle and I like it to follow me, like I always have extra water in my car. I always have snacks in my car. Like I just make sure that they're in there.
Yeah.
You know, just having things handy so that if you do forget things, they're still there. Like it just takes a couple seconds to set yourself up for that and then replenish it. Like it can make a huge difference.
Yep.
Like,
And it's simple.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Kiss.
Yes.
Yes.
And then in the evenings, like once again, setting yourself up for the next day. But one small thing, especially for those of you that are tracking, is a lot of people really enjoy a family dinner. And so plan for that first. Like track your dinner first if you're going to eat as a family, because it's way easier to be a little bit more flexible with your breakfast and your lunch for a lot of our clients so that you can still really enjoy whatever it is you're eating as a family.
Yeah.
And so, you know, planning for that. And then also having buy-in from those around you. It's not a must because not everybody is going to be able to get that, but I think that it can be really powerful. And so I think the big difference sometimes is that for whatever reason, when you're trying to reach a physical goal or a personal aesthetic, sometimes people can be more like, oh yeah, like sounds nice, you're always doing something or whatever. But if you talk about, especially if you mean it, which should, but if you talk about like, if you're explaining to somebody why you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, let's say that you are following macros for a season because you want to feel better, simply explaining to the people around you like, hey guys, for this season, I'm really committing to learn how to best fuel my body and my brain so that I can feel really good and I can be better for the people around me. most people are not going to argue with that.
No.
And so they'll support you and say like, hey, I would really like to keep, like, I'd like to start shifting, because what's so cool is we see whole families starting to improve their health because they start shifting and having things in the house that are going to fuel the whole family more, or understanding, how reducing inflammatory foods over time can make a huge difference, for everybody, but especially for kids.
Yeah.
Like, it's huge. For everybody, it's huge.
It's
but
huge.
it's just those little things of getting the buy-in of the people around you, I think can be so big.
And I think that sometimes too, people who are on a special diet or a macro plan, they tend to shy away from social events because it's a little bit complicated. You don't want it to be awkward. You don't want to go in somewhere and say, oh, I'm on a macro plan, so I can't eat or whatever. Like, we don't want that. Like, usually, like, let's say, for instance, you're going to a barbecue. Well, generally speaking, you can kind of guess at what's going to be at a barbecue. Usually hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever. You can pre-track ahead of time. If you are going to have an alcoholic beverage, just track it.
Yeah.
And then if you go and things are different than what you were guessing, then just make adjustments. Yeah. And honestly, like, one meal, if you're off track, if you go home and you track after you've eaten, which is not ideal, but let's say you do that because life happens, and it wasn't ideal and you didn't meet your macros, no big deal. Yeah. Just start over the next day. You don't need to make up for anything. You don't need to short yourself at any macro because you went over on fats or carbs or whatever. You just start back up the next day. Tell your coach, say, hey, I went to a barbecue. I couldn't help but eat an entire chocolate cake or whatever. And then just start up, fresh the next day.
You don't have to change the way you live.
No.
Like, as far as, like, I eat out a lot. Like, probably more than I should, because you don't always know what's in there. But, like, I, meet friends for lunch or have meetings. We go out to dinner as a family a lot. We're going to barbecues all the time. Like, you just figure it out, because most anywhere you can get some form of a good protein. You can limit added ingredients. You can make sure you're not getting, seed oils. And you can get good veggies or fruit or whatever it may be. Like, do you have to eat those things? No, but when, like, you can look ahead at a menu, you can plan ahead of time, or if not, you just, you make it work.
Just make it happen, yeah.
And you get comfortable with it.
Yeah, and if you can't, like, perfectly track it, it's better to guess and track something than to not track anything at all.
Yeah.
So I think that that's important, especially for our clients, who are tracking their food. Like, just guess. Like, the palm of your hand, like, not including your fingers, is about 3 to 4 ounces depending on the thickness of the protein. Yeah. You include if your size of your protein is about the size of your whole hand, it's about 6 ounces. I said grams earlier. Ounces. So 3 to 4 ounces for the palm of your hand, about 6 ounces for your whole hand. I mean, it's an easy way to, like, guesstimate how much protein you're getting. And like I said, it's better to guess than to not track anything at all if you are currently tracking it on a macro plan.
Best case scenario is you weigh it.
Yeah, but
always. You guess. And we have a tool on the toolbox of our website at macromavens.life that actually goes through that as far as, like, size of your hand and all of that.
Yeah.
And those are just, like, best guess. But you guys, you can make it work. Like, it doesn't have to be super complicated. Mm-hmm. And I know that this is getting really long, and so we'll wrap up here shortly. But one thing I do want to note that's a really important habit, we started by talking about gratitude. But something else that I think is equally important that sometimes we don't take the time to talk about is social connection. Like, your social circle, even if it's super small or real big, can have a huge impact on your health. Like, if you're not investing in, even if it's, within family, or if it's extended family or friends or whomever it is, investing in your relationships and having a healthy social, not to say you have to be going out all the time or doing all of these things, but healthy social connections lend to good health and longevity. And oftentimes those are going to be what keeps you feeling good and wanting to make these changes. So if you're not making the time to make those small investments, and they can be small, but making that connection, having discussions, dreaming, talking about things, like, those things are really important for our health.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you don't necessarily realize, the impact that those relationships have until later on in life. And so I think that, like, really investing your time into the people that you love and you care about, like, it'll pay off dividends. And having people in your life that are your biggest fans, that are your cheerleaders. I one of my favorite things about Emmy is she loves to travel also, but she is the first person to comment and be like, oh my gosh, your trip looks so amazing. I'm so excited for you. And it looks like you're having the best time. Like, she's the biggest cheerleader. And I love that. She's not jealous, or if she is, she keeps it to herself.
I mean, do I want to be there? Yeah. But like, I love that she's there.
She's not envious, I should say. Like, she doesn't she's not what's like bitter or resentful that I'm getting to do super fun things while she's working all the time.
Fun too.
And she's gonna go do some fun stuff while I hold down the fort. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, get people in your life who are your champions and your cheerleaders and who love to see you succeed. And if there's people in your life, and we've talked about this in the past, who are suckers of your energy, we have the power as adults to choose the people we surround ourselves with. We don't get to choose our family, but we do get to choose our friends. And so make sure that the friends that you choose and the people that you're spending your time with fill your cup instead of drain it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we've kind of been all over the board.
Yeah.
But
real quick, though, what's one quick habit that people, besides gratitude, because you already talked about that, but what's one quick habit that you think people could start right today, right now, that could make a shift?
Okay, well, I don't know if this is a habit, but this is, I think, a really powerful exercise.
Okay.
And that is get some sticky notes, preferably that stick, if not just a piece of paper with some tape.
That's what a sticky note is a piece of paper that sticks. It's all in the name.
Preferably a Post-it or a sticky note, if not paper and tape. And take a minute and do at least three, if not more. And write down your why. Put it on your bathroom mirror, put it on your refrigerator, and put it on your car dash. Because the simple reminder of why, what is your why for whatever goal you have, having that in your face can be so powerful for the small decisions you make throughout the day that help get you the consistency, that move you towards discipline, that move you towards habit.
Yes,
like, it's
I
huge.
love that. What is your why? And remind yourself of it continuously. Good, I love that. And I will tell you one too, and it's one that we haven't talked about at all today. We haven't mentioned it, and I think it's so powerful, and it's really... anybody in the whole wide world can incorporate it right today. It's uncomfortable, but the payoff is huge, and you hate it. Well, you don't hate it, but you dislike it. But taking a cold shower.
Hey, I have been doing some serious cold plunging while this one's been gone.
Yes.
And like crazy cold lakes. I was in a lake that was, or it wasn't a lake. It was part of a river that was like a little lake. That was probably 48 degrees yesterday.
Yeah, that's good. Good job. This girl, and she's gotten so good, you guys. I'm really proud of her. But take a cold shower.
Yeah.
And when you get out, be aware of how you feel. So you don't have to do like 15 minutes in the cold, but do your deal and then turn on the cold water, turn on a song, and stay in for 3 to 5 minutes. And don't like sit there and be like, oh my gosh, the worst thing ever. But like break through the walls, tell yourself, relax your face, do it. I challenge you to do it for 30 days in a row. And I promise you, you will come out of that shower with more energy than you knew you had. And it will actually start your day on a really great note. So that's just something simple. What is your why? Put it on your fridge, put it on your mirror, take a cold shower. I have people saying, drink more water, go to a waterfall or a beach, do things that bring you joy, do it regularly, and it'll make you a better person.
It will. And we didn't get into a ton of things. Like we talk about like keep it simple, right? But like I'm just going to go through really quick. Like setting yourself up the night before is huge. Starting with gratitude is huge. Drinking water in the morning is huge. Pre-tracking your day so that you just know what you're going to hit. Having healthy things on hand. Moving your body throughout the day. If you can get first of the morning sunlight on your face, or your body, getting the simple act of getting outside, you guys, is huge. It's going to help with your sleep. It's going to help with your energy.
Unless it's super smoky where you live.
Yeah, I still go outside.
Yeah,
staying hydrated throughout the day, setting yourself up for good, deep, restorative sleep is huge. Having positive relationships, like all of these things lend to a happy, healthy, joyful, long life. Like they do.
And
they
who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
We all want that.
We all want that. And they will all aid in things like a healthy metabolism because they do. It's all connected, right? We talk about it all of the time. We talk about like what we bring into our body. We're talking food. We're talking emotion. We're talking environment. We're talking
what you watch, what you listen to,
Yeah.
all of those things, they all have an impact.
They do. They impact our nervous system. They impact our digestion. They impact our endocrine system. Like I can keep going. We have so many clients that have been sharing their lab results with us.
Oh, man.
Clients don't have to, but oh my gosh, you guys.
So fun.
I have one of my male clients that has only been doing this for maybe a month and a half. Like, if that, maybe 2 months. And he's a diabetic. And his triglycerides went from 399 to 99.
Which is a big deal.
Like,
so you
it's
don't.
insane.
So the triglycerides are like you don't want that number high.
Yeah.
And that is a big deal.
I mean,
that's
it's
amazing.
huge. It's huge. Now, he had them tested, a while before he started, then just had him tested again. And of course, if it's a diabetic, we want them working closely with their medical provider, all of the things. But like his endocrinologist was like, oh my gosh, like what are you doing? We have clients whose hormones are naturally balancing. Their thyroids are better supported. Their, HSCRP, which is a high sensitivity C-reactive protein, it's your inflammatory marker, are drastically dropping. Like it is so cool.
Changing
I love data.
lives,
Like,
changing bodies,
woo-hoo!
changing people. Head over to macromavens.life if you want some.
You can click on the hop on board button. It does not commit you to anything, but it lets one of our coaches reach out, answer any questions, see if we're a good fit. And you guys, like small changes, they add up over time. They make a huge difference. And making shifts, it can be scary, but it is like life-giving and it can be sustainable. It does not have to be difficult.
No. In fact, the simpler it is, the more sustainable. And that's what we want for you guys. So
We want it.
anyway, we've been talking for a long time. If you guys have any questions or are curious, we mentioned it a second ago, but macromavens.life, click the hop on board button. We would love to have a conversation with you.
Love it.
Our current clients also have access to Fit, which is our fitness component that is so killer. People are loving it. And so that is exclusive to our clients. So if you're curious about that, you got to be a client. So you might as well click on over and we'll start a conversation.
One thing we didn't talk about that we should all do right now is take a deep breath, because breath is powerful.
Yeah.
I hope you did it too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you
Have
so
a great
much.
week. We will be back next week
We'll be
together.
back. Together.
Bye, guys.
Bye.